This is the who that's so brave. Dare to fight octopus, and finally caught it to enjoy. Grilled octopus, fragrant charcoal complex. In the forest, they even dug up a giant mussel. It adds water and nutrients. At night they cooked more bone marrow, nutritional oil eaten with vegetables. In this episode, Snyder and Jeff are on a journey of survival. It's a hot time. They go through the meadows, carrying with insulation blanket, a backpack, a big knife, a water bottle and a small notebook. Just that much. They're near the deserted coast of South Africa, where it's not just harsh nature, it's full of wild and dangerous animals, especially at night is extremely scary. Under these conditions, water remains a vital target. While struggling, the slippers suddenly spotted an antenna on the ground. It looks like a wildlife detector. It can be used as a warning. I try to start, and it's actually getting a signal from the direction of the grass. It's less than 2 kilometers away, and it's moving. Probably a lion, the leading animal in this area. They know they can't play with their lives. Immediately retreat in the opposite direction. They walked a little bit to the grass. No more signals, so I decided to stop making camp because it's getting dark. It's less dangerous in the open than it is in the forest, so they found a big tree for shelter. I know there are animals around. Sandal for copper wire. Separate into thin fibers and wrap around the rubber tube, forming electrical conductor, and then use the battery from the radio to generate power. Reconnect to generate heat. An effective fire starter tool. Snyder cut the logs to pierce the head as a self-defense spear. When everything is ready, battery-connected slippers tested and burned because of too high heat, but that's how they started the fire. Snyder brought more wood and built a small shelter. Cut the fence around with thorns. After a busy time, they had a safe haven. Just going to rest. The alarm went off again, causing both of them to get nervous. Snyder climbed the tree to look around. Altitude alert. Fortunately, the danger is not approaching. When the night falls, the signal's still ticking, and they're taking turns watching. Sandals on the tree. Snyder in the ground holding a spear. A long tense night. The next morning, Slippers checked the equipment again. I saw the signal go away. Maybe the animal left. 2 people pack up. Fast forward into the forest. Feel the dense vegetation. They open the way with a knife between the tangled leo and the overgrown trees, sweating like a shower. After a short while moving in the forest, they found a plant. It's called the cabbage of the forest. Digging deep into the ground, they quickly picked up a huge root mass. Both of you, together, cut the crust. It's got a lot of water inside. To their surprise, they squeezed out cold sips, refreshments and energy supplements. The rest is stored in a bag for later use. Continue through the forest for a few hours, not far away but extremely tired. At the right time, they found a small path with animal tracks. Signs that there has recently been water. By the way, the probability of finding water is very high, but it can also be dangerous. Should copy the signal detector to check around the area. There's nothing suspicious. To feel safe, they're continuing along the animal path. It takes a few minutes to get out of the forest. In front of you is a river. You two are not in a hurry. Look carefully around. When you're sure it's safe. Snyder bent over the pouring water. Some people worry that the water may not be clean. I decided to boil. I took the plastic bag, pour water in to create a lens-like effect, and tore a page out of the notebook. Put together some hay and sap. Use a bag of water to collect the sun's rays. But the sun is hidden by clouds. They have to wait a long time. Finally, when the sun comes back, the paper started to burn. The slippers carefully blew out the smoke and the fire. Quickly put the dry wood in. To build a steady fire, they poured water into the vase. Let it cool in the river. Snyder is back now, carrying a small homemade box to store charcoal, to help maintain the fire. They both drink clean water. Every sip of cold makes you delirious, happy and full of life. Snyder give more coal. Burn it in the carry-on box to make it easier to ignite next time. After a break, they put their backpacks on and kept walking along the river. On the way, they found some animal bones. The meat has decomposed, but there's still marrow inside, a precious source of nutrition. So they brought it though. It's less than 100 meters. In front of me there is a cliff. Both of you sit down at the table. They don't have a rope, but this is the only way to the sea. I don't know how long it will take to turn around. In times of hesitation, Snyder stood up and decided to go first. They slowly climbed down the cliff, standing on a small ledge, and dropped Snyder first. Then the slippers clung to the rock solid. Carefully move every step until you're both standing on the same rock. If you look closely, you can see that the rocks are stacked. It makes it easier for them to hang on, but no one dares to ignore even a little. And so they followed the steps. Steady step towards the lake, and walk along the rocks next to it. Keep going downstream. As the sun sets, two people stop, Find a place under the cliff to build shelter. Sandals pull large logs between the stone slits, and then put together a bunch of little twigs in a frame. When the frame is finished, he combed the insulation blanket on top and covered it with leaves, dry brush for shielding. Soon, a solid hut appeared. Meanwhile, Snyder goes, collect firewood and get ignition stones from 3 lots. Group up. The fire made them both very excited. After working all day hungry and scratching, they started preparing dinner, grilled the tendons and bone marrow on the hot rock. After a while, the land fragrance, they enjoy crispy grilled tendons and greasy marrow, both delicious and nutritious. Nutritional value many times that of beef. The night closed in a little fire. The next morning, Slippers and Snyder get up early. Continue leave on, follow the river until you set foot on the beach. In front of them was a wild scene. No trace of humans. There's only the sound of the waves and the ocean's wind blowing. Hungry, so the Slippers removed the metal from the old signal, sharpening his head and bending it into a hook for hunting. Snyder uses a blanket to build a device that reflects light to signal for help. Slippers off. Ferocious waves groping around the rocks. After a few waves, I found an octopus in the water. Quick, use a pinhook and grab it with your bare hands. After the dramatic struggle, you carry the booty ashore. Snyder's already lit the fire. They roast octopus on charcoal, the scorched outer layer, inside soft sweet. It's rich in seafood and contains many times more protein than beef. While eating well, they suddenly heard the sound of the helicopter engine. Both immediately run to the transmitter. Strong reflector to attract attention. The helicopter eventually spotted them and flew over. This time the challenge was officially successful. These 2 men are not hunters. It's about wildlife experts, used to take down forest birds, crispy grilled each snail, and find the source of life in the harsh nature. This time their journey continues in the Republic of Georgia, the land between Russia and Turkey, where the Cauca Mountains are dreaded again, and the giant underground cave system. As soon as you enter the cave, Slippers and Snyder swallowed in the thick darkness, nothing but the cold wall next door. Underfoot is an unknown depth. They can only follow the cliffs. Heavy and stressful mood. When you're fumbling around and your sandals hit something. When you pick it up and touch it, raw as a flashlight. I tried to turn it on, but it didn't light up. Maybe it needs water and batteries to work. 2 things they have to find a way to combine to generate electricity and continue the journey of survival. In the dark earth, it's extremely flammable. Maybe there's no water inside, so they decided to bring it and keep moving forward. Based on the faint light from the ignition, try to see the road in front of you better. Go for a piece. They heard the water dripping from the distance. I went back to check, and fortunately, there really is water. Instead of drinking right away, they poured water into a special flashlight, and when you slide the switch, light flashes in the darkness. It makes you both very excited. After ever sinking in thick black, there is light. The journey ahead is much easier. It's surrounded by giant limestone blocks, form a magnificent natural maze. While walking, they suddenly found a backpack on the ground. It's a ready-made survival kit. Open out, check. There's a working flashlight inside, an empty plastic bottle, a medical box containing gauze dressings, Vaseline medical gauze and some cotton balls, along with some rock climbing hooks and an not much, but useful, as long as they get out of here first. To avoid getting lost, use a stone to draw an arrow. Just walk on the ground and keep going. The road ahead is narrow and winding. They keep going, I don't know how long, until I see a small gap in front of me. They stopped to hear the water coming out of the cave. Know that there is no other way, so I decided to ignore it. The long narrow passage makes it extremely difficult to move. And then one of the 2 flashlights went out. There's only a little light left. They still try to move forward, but soon both the lights went out. The darkness swallowed it all. Snyder pulled out the ignition stone with a small spark. The 2 walked slowly forward, until we get out of the narrow gap, and step into a larger space. In the thick darkness, they can barely move. Sandal take out medical box rub. Apply Vaseline to cotton and wrap it around a wooden stick. The slider uses cloth to wrap around the end of the stick and light it. From ignition rocks, quickly made a bright torch. There's a light on the way. They keep going. Soon after I heard the water, and saw a stream of water flowing across the cave. Sandals sewn up full, excited when the light looms ahead. They both rush towards it. Let the light cover the whole body. They're approaching the exit of the underground labyrinth. You can see that this cave is enormous and majestic. It overwhelmed the people. Right next door, they found a dead animal on the ground. It looks pretty new. They walked back to check. I noticed that there were bear footprints nearby. Maybe this animal was attacked by a bear. When you think of that giant creature, you both get goosebumps. No more thinking about eating meat. I just want to leave this place quickly. And then they followed the river up, running water, making it extremely difficult to move around. Snyder pushed Slippers climb up front, and then try to cross the strong current on your own. When they reached the shore, they stopped for a while in the canyon. At the same time, prepare to deal with wild animals. They found 2 solid logs to pierce one end, and tie the knife to the top of the stick to protect yourself. It feels much safer. Both continue along the river, walking slowly through the slippery rocks. After a while, they saw the sign. The bear's claws etched on the tree's trunk make everyone on high alert. They've now lost more than 10 hours of dry thirst, but when you go to the river to draw water, you only see foam. I can't drink right away. Slippers pour water into plastic bottles. The bottle was leaking and had to be and then use Vaseline and a lighter to melt the plastic, small into the puncture to seal. Then they drip a few drops of the solution, iodine, to disinfect water before continuing the journey. They went a little further, and they found a lot of snails along the river, precious source of protein. So quickly Han picked up the bag to cook dinner. It's getting late in the afternoon. They found new bear footprints on the water's edge, make them both grow hair. I dare not joke anymore. Immediately climbed the slope for shelter, to the middle of the mountain. They decided to set up camp overnight, for fear of bears coming. Snyder took the rope around the camp as a warning line, and the Slippers removed the reflectors from the RA lamp, tied to the rope so that if an animal touches it, it makes a noise. Then, they built their shelters out of fresh, smelly branches and leaves to hide body odor, and then light a fire to make dinner. 2 people sitting by the fire, each holding one, a delicious roasted snail, swallowing in the bone-chilling cold of the mountains. Wild snail, grilled, crispy, fragrant, complex, mild chicken smell. A field meal but extremely nutritious. The first day of survival. The next morning, the 2 continued to climb, through a journey full of time, suffering to get to the top of the mountain. But the scene wasn't as imagined. Dense trees full of spikes. Sandal holding long tree paving the way. Just walking and brushing the bushes. It means crossing the forest and cutting thorns. While clearing the way, I suddenly realized there was something in front of me. They both immediately bent down and were surprised. Not far away is a wild chicken foraging. It's a heavenly protein dish. The 2 discussed quietly. Snyder took the metal lock in 3 batches, removed the steel inside, to tie a rope into a hunting tool. Temporarily, everything is ready. They've divided the perimeter in 2 directions. Snyder came closer and threw the rope in the right mix. The chicken is neatly caught. Sandal shows excitement. Then you take the booty to safety. Quick hand hair removal, abdomen. Keep only the fresh meat. They light the fire, skewers the barbecue on the coals. The smell of land makes my stomach scratch. Not long after, 2 people enjoy the grilled chicken. Sweet tender meat. And on the 3rd day, they leaped along the mountain slopes, still using spears to open the way, to walk a slipper and detect animal footprints. This time it's not a bear, it looks like a wild boar. But this area doesn't have wild boars, makes you both more curious. They decided to follow the trail. Going a little further is unexpected. You see below it is falling in people's homes. Signs of human civilization. They both shouted, it's a tough survival journey. Their work finally ended successfully.